Welcome to International Student Brief. The content of the briefing includes Prune the tree, halting new colleges considered amid student visa crackdown. It won't be China, India anymore, universities urge to pivot to new student market. Lost Canadians win court battle to reclaim citizenship rights. ByteDance sales surpass 10 cents to reach $110 billion US. I'm 22, work in a pharmacy and earn £22,000. How can I save for a deposit by 30? Prune the tree, halting new colleges considered amid student visa crackdown. The Sydney Morning Herald. The Australian government is considering a moratorium on new colleges in an attempt to reduce migration. The government is also looking at measures to prevent the exploitation of vulnerable students, such as beefing up the regulator to weed out unscrupulous providers. The government's plan to have net overseas migration by June 2025 involves reducing the intake of international students, who will now face stricter English language tests and have to prove they are genuine students before entering the country. The government hopes to eliminate ghost colleges that offer fake courses to exploit student visa holders. It won't be China, India anymore, universities urge to pivot to new student market. The Sydney Morning Herald. The outgoing chief of Australia's University Lobby Group, Catriona Jackson, has called for the country's education sector to focus on Africa in order to stay ahead of global competition for students. Jackson stated that Africa would soon replace China and India as the top source of international students and that it was crucial for Australia to capitalize on this opportunity. A report commissioned by Universities Australia concurred and called for education in the Southeast Asia and Pacific region to be a priority for Australia's soft power agenda. Lost Canadians win court battle to reclaim citizenship rights. The Toronto Star. A Canadian court has ruled that it is unconstitutional for Canada to deny automatic citizenship to children born abroad whose parents were also born overseas. The ruling comes as part of a court case brought by 7 multi-generational Canadian families who challenged the second-generation cutoff rule, which denies the right to pass on Canadian citizenship by descent to children born abroad. The court has given the federal government 6 months to repeal the rule and amend the Citizenship Act. The court ruling means that the Liberal government must fix the issue through legislation. The ruling was hailed by the family's lawyers, who argued that the current law creates a second class of citizenship. The change in the law will allow first-generation foreign-born Canadians who obtain citizenship by descent the freedom to explore opportunities abroad without the citizenship restriction. However, the court did not grant the family's request for damages, as it did not find that the government had acted in bad faith or clearly disregarded their charter rights. ByteDance sales surpassed 10 cents to reach $110 billion US. South China Morning Post. Chinese technology company ByteDance is set to report sales of over $110 billion in 2023, according to people with knowledge of the matter. The figure could see ByteDance surpass its rival Tencent in terms of revenue. The company's growth in 2023 matches the 30% rate it achieved in 2022, with sales in excess of $80 billion. ByteDance's e-commerce business is said to be driving growth, despite scrutiny and restrictions in key markets such as the US and India. ByteDance earnings before interest, tax, depreciation and amortization rose 79% to $25 billion in 2022. I'm 22, work in a pharmacy and earn £22,000. How can I save for a deposit by 30? Telegraph. Sean McIver, a 22-year-old biomedical scientist, is looking to build up his emergency fund and save for a house deposit. He currently earns just over £22,000 a year, but is about to start a new part-time role that will see him earn approximately £25,000 pro rata. McIver doesn't currently earn enough to start making repayments on his student loan, but he plans to start paying it off early to reduce the amount and term. He is looking to top up his main salary with another flexible role and will soon earn more than the threshold of £27,295, meaning he will have to start making loan repayments regardless. McIver is enrolled in his employer's pension scheme, which will help him build a retirement pot over time. He currently has £500 in savings, and to build towards a house deposit, McIver could consider opening a lifetime ISA, which allows for tax-efficient savings of up to £4,000 per year. The ticking time bomb under Britain's universities. Telegraph. UK universities are facing a financial crisis due to frozen tuition fees, high inflation, lower international student numbers and staff pension costs. Coventry University recently announced plans to make £95 million in funding cuts over the next 2 years after discovering an £85 million budget shortfall. Sheffield Hallam University has invited its 1,700 academic staff members to apply for voluntary redundancy, while the University of Aberdeen is consulting on axing single honor degrees in modern languages. The University of Staffordshire recently announced redundancies that will affect more than 1 in 20 staff members. Universities are also cutting back on investments and increasing class sizes. Some institutions are even selling assets, such as land and artwork. Universities UK, UUK, which represents 142 universities, said it knows of no institution that is not making some form of cuts, many of which are job losses. Higher Education Policy Institute Director Nick Hillman warns that the sector could face thousands of job losses, and he believes that for the first time in history, an institution could go bankrupt. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Dr. Six, your resident observer from the 6 Degrees world. It's time for a quick recap of today's news. First, we have the Australian government considering a moratorium on new colleges to reduce migration and prevent the exploitation of vulnerable students. They're cracking down on ghost colleges that offer fake courses to exploit student visa holders. In related news, the outgoing chief of Australia's University Lobby Group is urging universities to pivot to Africa as the next big market for international students, replacing China and India. Moving on to Canada, the court has ruled that it is unconstitutional to deny automatic citizenship to children born abroad whose parents were also born overseas. This ruling gives multi-generational Canadian families the right to reclaim their citizenship. However, the court did not grant their request for damages, as it did not find that the government had acted in bad faith or disregarded their rights. In the tech world, Chinese company ByteDance is set to report sales of over $110 billion in 2023, surpassing rival Tencent. Despite scrutiny and restrictions in key markets, ByteDance's e-commerce business is driving their growth. Now, let's talk about personal finance. We have Sean McIver, a 22-year-old biomedical scientist, looking to save for a house deposit. He's earning around £22,000 a year, but plans to increase his income through a part-time role. He's also considering paying off his student loan early and opening a lifetime ISA to save tax efficiently. Lastly, UK universities are facing a financial crisis due to frozen tuition fees, high inflation, lower international student numbers, and staff pension costs. Some universities are making funding cuts, inviting staff to apply for voluntary redundancy, and even considering axing certain degrees. The situation is dire, and job losses are expected. In conclusion, we can see that immigration policies, international education markets, citizenship rights, tech giants, personal finance, and higher education are all interconnected. The world is constantly evolving, and these issues will continue to shape our societies. It's important for us to stay informed and engage in discussions about these topics. Now, I'd love to hear your thoughts. What do you make of these news stories? Do you have any personal experiences or insights to share? Let's keep the conversation going. Thank you for tuning in. The content above showcases the latest briefing reports and analytical synopses, thoughtfully curated by the 6Do team. These insights stem from a wide array of reputable media outlets, think tanks, government sources, and specialized experts worldwide. We encourage you to explore these sources for a comprehensive perspective. Keep in mind that while the content may not always align with the official standpoint of 6Do Brief, it's not meant to be taken as absolute directives for decision-making. Comprising seasoned media professionals, learned scholars, and accomplished scientists, the 6Do team embodies a trailblazing, fully independent media entity. To customize 6Do Brief to meet your professional needs, you have the option to subscribe to a diverse array of briefings on our website, 6dobrief.com. Regardless of your location, you can conveniently receive 6Do Brief via email.